Yeah. Het ging van Junkie XL naar Junkie in herstel.
Welcome back.
All right.
Yeah, we fixed it again. It was such a mess. Oh man, such a work in progress. Oh well,
All good.
All good in the end. Hey, I had a few more questions. Just so, what were my questions again? Oh, I can't remember now. That's what happens. Do you know where we were? We were talking about the book, of course. Like, did it take you long to create it? Did you write it on your own, or did you have like help?
Yeah, so it started by journaling in rehab, right?
Oh.
They ask you, it was like day 2 or 3, and they give you a pad and a pen, and they say, "Hey, start journaling." And I'm like, "Oh God, this is so stupid."
Yeah.
Like, I wanted nothing to do with it, but okay, fine. I'll journal.
Mm.
And I started writing, and I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And after about 10 days of just writing whatever was in my mind, I started to connect some dots and started realizing, oh, this happened at this point in my life. This happened at this point in my life. And just started to make a little bit more sense at first. So it made me want to keep doing it. And by the time I walked out of rehab, I had like 60 pages of stuff written down. And so I just continued when I got out. And I wouldn't say it was hard to write because everything was in here. It was about just having it make sense. I could ramble on for days with this stuff. That, as you were talking about, it's kind of like you try to write a book. It's like, well, where do I start and where do I stop?
Yeah.
Because you could go on forever. So just the hard part was about what part of the story or stories do I want to tell? Yeah,
there's so much to choose from, eh?
Yeah. So just trying to make those decisions, and then about talking about relationships, it was more emotionally difficult to dig into some of it. And 1, admit to myself, and 2, put down on paper and admit to the world about how I treated some people.
Mm-hmm.
That was difficult. But I had already made up my mind because of the effect that people before me, who were willing to share their stories, the effect that had on me, that it made me believe it was possible.
Yeah.
That it made me think, oh my God, I could probably have a pretty awesome life if I do this thing right.
Mm-hmm.
That came from seeing other people who did it.
Yeah.
So I told myself, if I can do that for somebody too.
Yeah, even if it's just one person, it would be rewarding.
It's all worth it.
Yeah.
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 And so that's why I decided to do the podcast. It's why I decided to write the book. My ego, obviously, I want a lot of people to buy and read the book, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the emails I get back, I don't know if you saw in the back of the book, I put an email address.
Yeah.
And I ask people, shoot me an email after you read the book. Tell me what you think. And I wake up to emails every single morning from people who read the book. And they either relate to something, or they have a question about something, or you just see how it hit home for them.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, that's how I emailed you as well. I was like, because you said like, I used to go for mediocre sometimes, and would be fine with that. And then I should aim for, the highest possible.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, not with drugs, but,
Yeah.
No. And I was like, I'm gonna just give it a go. I'm just gonna send you an email and see what happens, because you're doing a podcast, I'm doing one, and in Holland, like the total abstinence story is not as well known. So there's a big group of people that don't know what recovery is. They know what getting clean means, but they don't know how to change their lives, what it takes to actually like live recovery. And it's a very hopeful message. And it's very important that people learn about this option, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very glad that you're in the podcast as well, because many people are trying to, drink less or use less, and it sort of works for a little bit, but then they jump ship. They used to drink, now they start smoking weed, or they pop some pills or whatever, and they think they're doing a great job. And I was the same. I never knew about the illness, that addiction was an illness, and that it wouldn't go away if I just stop using and drinking. It was just a start to get my sober self back, and then see like, okay, now what? Have you had any cross addictions that you noticed once you got sober?
Well, I'll talk about that one second. I just want to follow up with what you said, because my brother is 8 years sober now.
Oh, wow.
I watched him recover. He and I drank a ton together, and I watched him recover. He recovered way different than I'm recovering, very quietly, very privately. But I watched him do it. I watched my sister struggle in and out of rehab, trying to recover. I watched them, and it's almost like I was watching it happen, and yet I couldn't see it for myself. Mm-hmm. And I knew I needed to stop drinking.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine that there was a life without alcohol.
Yeah.
And as you just pointed out, like there's this amazing life without it. This incredible way to live. And so trying to get that word out there for people who either desperately need it or are wondering, or kind of, is this actually how I want to live? Whatever it may be, the more we get that message out, the better.
Yeah.
The cross addictions, do you mean like, have I traded addictions now? Like for other things?
For example, like when I got out of rehab, because I have the disease of wanting more of anything I like, right? So I used to not eat, and I rediscovered food. So I gained like 15 kilos in like 3 months or whatever, and I was stuffing my face all the time because it was like a rediscovering of something new, and it gave me feelings of satisfaction as well. Sure. Someone told me like, "Hey, you're getting a bit chubby, eh? What happened?" And I was like, "Well, leave me alone. It's mine. I'm just eating. It's healthy. I used to be thin, blah blah blah." And then I thought, okay, I'll go to the gym because I'm getting a bit fat otherwise. And I started training, and I went to the gym. I did kickboxing. I was training for 10 to 13 hours a day, 1-3. And people said like, "Oh, you're getting a bit muscular and you're getting big all of a sudden. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm training." "How many hours?" "Well, it's this and this and it." And they're like, "Bro, you're just swapping one thing for another." And luckily I could like tone it down because it's not a substance. Like if I use something mind altering, I can't tone it down because I'll just go off the hinge. But either way, I was, I had small obsessions with new things, and it didn't become full blown addiction, but it's dangerous. It was dangerous if I didn't,
Yeah. So I definitely have dealt with the same thing. It started with coffee, right? And I've cut back. I still drink a lot of coffee. Mm-hmm. But again, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not too unhealthy amounts. Mm-hmm. I got rid of, so as much as I drank at all different times of the day, my favorite time to drink was before I went to bed. Mm. I loved to sit at the end of the night. I put the kids to bed, and I would sit there and drink my wine and watch TV until I passed out.
Yeah.
I got rid of the wine, and in came the ice cream.
Yes.
And I mean to disgusting amounts.
Yeah.
I just, whatever was sitting there, I just kept eating until it was gone. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that every single night. Mm-hmm. And I was watching my gut grow as well. And at first I said to myself, whatever, like I knew what I was doing and I was aware of it, but I was like, it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay with my ice cream for now.
Mm-hmm.
But the addict, I started like, it would be around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'd be like, is there enough ice cream in the freezer to get me through tonight?
Yeah.
Like just how I used to think, is there enough alcohol in the house to get me through the night? Like I started to process it that way. And I was like, yo, this is crazy, So I have cut back. I still really enjoy my ice cream, but I've cut way back on that. But that was clearly, I was replacing that sugar craving that I would have at night that came from the alcohol.
Yeah.
I was just fulfilling with the ice cream.
Yeah.
But also the workout stuff. I mean, I did an Ironman this past summer. It's like I dove right in, and I was like, yeah, it's not enough for me to start running or go to the gym again. I'm doing an Ironman,
all or nothing, eh?
Yeah. And I'm aware of that. That is my personality in a lot of things. A man who's been sober for almost 30 years told me, hey, you could look at it as a superpower.
Yes.
Your addict brain allows you to choose something, focus on it, and you're going to make that thing happen.
Agreed.
As long as it doesn't take its toll on the people around you. And I have to be careful of that because like the Ironman, which I loved, and I already can't wait to do another one. It's so time consuming that I took time away from my kids and from my wife and from other things so I could do that. And so I have to be aware of that. At the same time, it's like, listen, I'm always going to, my brain, the way it works, I'm always going to have something.
Yeah.
I just need to be aware of what I'm putting that energy towards.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a healthy option and that I don't hurt my relationships with people around me because of that. But
yeah, and that's where the meetings are good,
trading.
Eh?
I know I'm trading addictions. I know that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm in therapy. I'm aware, we talk about it all the time. I'm working on it. Is it ever fully going to go away? Probably not.
No, but like for me, like it's nice because I'm going to the meetings and people are, my higher power, like other people, they're telling me like, hey, I think you're doing a bit much now. And then I'm like, And then at first I get angry, like, like, leave me alone, this is mine. But then afterwards I'm like, they're right, and then I can tone it down. And it's easier now that the years have passed to spot where it is. Like every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, my addict brain wants me to lose myself in something, either do too much or do nothing, but being steady and balanced, that's where it's trying to sabotage my life and my thinking. And if I don't go to meetings, I will lose my extra moments of awareness to see where it is, because it's in me, man. It lies to me in my own voice. It's so hard to distinguish which inner dialogue is healthy or unhealthy. And it's a motivational speaker, and it just wants me to, go all out on something, right? And luckily in the meetings, I find my other motivational speakers, because when I listen to them, I can see my own insanity and my own addiction in my own way of living at the moment. And that's what I think is it's always hard when people don't find the meetings, don't know about it. Like I can live clean, but I will be insane, in my behavior, and I will go all out on something again, and it will be destructive at some point. And if I'm in the meetings, at least I have like hooks in which I can like look, I can hook myself and pull myself back a little bit and look at it like, hey, what am I doing? Where am I going? What am I scheming now? Because I'm always scheming, man. Even in recovery, it's awful sometimes.
Well, it's also like you said too, when you go to meetings, you hear other people, you listen to other people, and you can take bits and pieces from different things you hear. And I think that's, no matter what I turn to, the important thing for me is that I don't isolate in it.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's what I would love to do. It's like with my addiction, it's like eventually I love to just go off by myself and me and my drink and go do that. And like when I was training for the Ironman, everything inside of me told me, this is your thing. Just take it and go do it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to run by myself. I wanted to swim by myself. I wanted to ride my bike but I didn't let me.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I created a team around me and made sure I was always hooked in and talking to other people and doing other things so that I didn't use it as a tool of isolation.
Good.
Because that's the biggest danger for me is whatever I choose, I tend to want to go do it by myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I can get into some trouble.
Yeah, in Holland.
So I make sure I stay connected.
Yeah, they always say an addict alone is in bad company. That's what we say in Holland. Because the brain is...
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. And any goals for the future? Like, do you have any big things in store?
You know, I do. I have some of the same goals that I had even from years ago about things I want to do in my career. Mm-hmm. But I don't focus on them all that much anymore. I focus on, the whole one day at a time thing.
Yeah.
I really live by. I know what I need to do today to stay sober. Mm-hmm. I know what I need to do today to keep my kids happy, my wife happy. I know what I want to do as far as my workout stuff, my next Ironman, whatever it is, those things are. And I try to actively work towards whatever my goals are for television or for another book or for my podcast or whatever. I make sure I actively do things each day to help keep moving forward towards those goals. But I'm not hyper focused on this is what I need to do.
That's good.
I'm going to spend my whole week or my whole year or whatever to make that happen. I don't allow myself to do that anymore. And that may create a situation that it takes me longer to get somewhere than it used to, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I love how I feel every day. So maybe I won't be as successful, or make as much money or create that show that I wanted to create, whatever. But I don't really care.
No, that's good.
Because I'm happy. I'm happy with where I'm at now. So.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I always say now to my coaches is it's passive recovery is worse than active addiction. And so recovery is an act, you have to be proactive. And like you said, like doing everything in a normal pace, it's so much better. And that's what I just came up with, when you told me the story. And no, it's so good. It's really nice that you had time to talk to us and tell your story. And you're probably going to be a Christmas episode. So maybe we should say Happy Christmas to everybody and wrap it up a little bit.
I don't know if I said this to you in our few conversations building up to this, but I said to myself when I got out, once I said I'm going to do my podcast and I guessed on a couple other people's podcasts and stuff, I said, I'm going to talk to whoever will talk to me, and sometimes it'll have to be in my time. Yeah. Like I'm not going to load up my schedule and drive myself crazy. But if people are willing to, maybe we can do it in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks or in a month or something like that. I'll talk to as many people that'll talk to me because for starters, I'm grateful that people want to talk to me. And this is helpful to me. Every conversation I have like this, I feel like is a little piece of like therapy.
Yeah.
It feels good. And I feel like, and no matter who it is, someone like you who's got 10 years, more time, there's plenty I can learn from you. So we have this conversation. You said a couple things today that just made me go, yeah,
Same.
And I love that, and it's like, I feel like no matter who I talk to, I get those little nuggets that I take away and they'll be with me for the rest of the day or week or maybe longer, so it's awesome.
It is awesome. Yeah. Yeah, same, man. Thank you very much for taking the time to, have this conversation and share your story. And hopefully we can meet up in the future. If my book comes out and it will be in English at some point, I will send you a copy.
Hell yeah.
Can you read Dutch by now or no? I know it's a difficult language, man. It's all good. It doesn't matter. I'm considering bringing it out, printing it in English as well, because I have a lot of friends over the world that want to read it as well. And, but first I'll do the Dutch thing. If you're in the area, give me a shout. And for now, happy holidays in the future.
Happy holidays to you. I'm going to be back in Amsterdam area sometime in like the middle to the end of January. So when I'm back, I'll let you know ahead of time. And if you have some time, we'll have to go to a meeting together.
We should. Let me know.
All right. And Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays as well. Just keep it going. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Cheers. See you later. Ciao.
All right, see you.